attorney general, lieutenant governor,
And
governor,
governor.
but it's all 100 seats of the delegates, not the
It
Senate.
is, because, you know, I am not hearing any campaign stuff about the delegates.
Not the delegates.
I mean, is that unusual? You would think.
If
Maybe.
they're not, I mean, around here, I don't think anybody's contesting.
Oh, they're not.
Uh,
Okay, that was a question I have.
Maybe other parts of the state.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything down in Martinsville. I think Eric Phillips is. That's actually good. Eric has been, my estimation. How long has he been a delegate? 2 years, 4 years, something like that.
18 months, maybe 18 months. You feel
I see.
I think it's been 4 years.
still in it or something.
That's right. He finished,
Still,
he
Less
had to jump in
battles.
for less because he got a judgeship. But he's been really good. I mean, I think he's been active. He's been in the community. What did he just, he attended our ribbon cutting for the pavilion and everything. Came up, said a few words. It's all very, very good. So we're
all right, we are,
We're live.
we're live. So I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to our Waynesboro Advocacy Committee meeting together with our VMNH Foundation Ad Hoc Committee. I forgot to know we're live meeting, which might be the reason why it's late. Okay. Full disclosure. Well, and it's summertime, so we almost didn't show up myself.
I think you're supposed to say that.
My head wasn't there. It just wasn't there. Our first item on the agenda is, I think we do have a quorum, and we will approve the June 2025 minutes. There are no corrections. Is that right? All right, everybody.
You want a motion?
I think if there's no corrections, we don't even need a motion. The
Okay.
minutes are approved as shared on email from Gilbert. So we'll go ahead and move to our first topic, which is detailed design. Joe or Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll let Jonathan take over description of the final steps that are coming about.
Yeah.
We got some new information by email.
Did you say final?
For details.
Oh, yeah, yes. Fell in my chair over here. Yeah. Final. We all know detailed designs, schematic and preliminary designs, right? So we're at the end of the preliminaries. Guavin Homes got all their stuff to us at the end of June. Worked with DEV, JMU, Scott Watchner at JMU is our new guy who replaced Rick Miller with JMU office. And there's a lot of forms and documentation that they fill out. So there's three different. There's the CR2, which we have, and I'll pass that around. Then there's the cost estimate from Guavin Homes, and then there's a third cost estimate, which we're in the midst of working on. We picked that off, I think, 3 weeks ago with a Zoom call with a contractor. So they said they'd be able to get it to us in 4 to 6. So it still puts us comfortably in time to get everything in and approved by October. So October is the date. I've got to have everything done by October.
Do they know that?
Yeah, everybody's, felt like that is key. That's the first thing we ask is, can you get it done by this date? So signs went in, I think, middle of July, so we expect to hear something back middle of August. Typically they'll give us changes that need to be made, stuff that we need to look at or they don't like, or revisions to the design, and they'll give that back to the architect, and then we'll put it in for another one. That should be, hoping, fingers crossed, it's 2. You guys remember schematic design, we have 3, but so it should be as close to what they want right now anyway. So 2 should be, we should just be able to knock it out 2. So looking to have preliminaries done by October, which is part of the capital budget request. You have to be able to say that you're going to be done with your preliminary schematics and preliminaries by October to get through the governor's budget, which is what we want to do.
Yeah, to get into the governor's budget.
Yes.
So do we know if we're gonna be in the governor's budget?
We will not know until December.
Till December, okay, so this is a wish.
Well,
Well, we have all the
It,
T's crossed and the I's dotted, so we're
And then-
in the stage well.
so the secretary's approved our request to request, which she did not last year. So it was, we just weren't far enough along the process, one, and then I didn't know the governor's trying to consolidate and be as efficient as possible with his budget. So, new buildings were out last year, but this year the secretary graciously allowed us to submit our request to request funds to be in the governor's budget. So
So,
Joe came up last Monday, or was last Monday, right?
Yes.
Bob did a great interview, did a nice article in the News Virginia, called both this Chris Head and Alan Campbell. But he said that we were in the construction pool, and it was like a quote from the two of them, that we've been added to the construction pool, but what was gonna hold it up was getting a bond issue.
We're in the 6-year capital outlay plan,
Yeah.
right? But the
Part of the
capital
plan.
construction pool.
He actually used the term construction pool. And the topic of the thing was, and it was actually from Chris Head. The question's gonna be, can they get a bond issue to fund it?
Well, we did have a meeting with the senator. He asked very good questions. And his big one was, sure, you're gonna develop all this tourism spending that's gonna support small businesses and so forth. He totally gets all that, but he wanted to know how much over a 20-year period, which would be the interest payments on a bond issuance, how much would the Commonwealth get? So we went back and we had to do this very rapidly because he's like, I'm gonna be seeing the governor in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So we went back to, and we talked to Greg too. We went back to the Chamura document, the latest one, and we extracted from that the various kinds of taxes, the taxes that would be associated with out-of-town funding, and then the annual operations over that less than 20-year period. But we figured the Commonwealth gets back about $22.5 million over that time frame, with a big chunk of it coming with the initial build, and then 20 years worth of out-of-town spending with a 7.2% return to the Commonwealth. So if we get $22.5 million, if the building and everything, if the project itself costs 33 million, or let's say the state goes in for 33 million, with interest over 20 years, that would be 50 million in payout. So we would actually make more than what is needed to cover the interest. So we're not getting $50 million to the Commonwealth, but we are paying for all of the interest payments essentially.
We're covering the interest and part of the capital. What would
And
be,
part of it,
what's
yeah.
the interest payment over 20 years?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Yeah.
It looks like 17.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get $17 million in interest payments over the 20 years. We'd be bringing in $22.5 million.
Okay.
So
On an outlay of about 50 million.
yeah.
So how does that stack up to other projects at this?
Oh God,
Does the state have some kind of like guidelines in terms of?
no, that's why we went to Chamura for this.
Yeah,
Because nothing
okay.
like that exists, but think about a building at JMU, it's not.
So I wonder what the return on investment number is,
Right.
where they'd like to see.
Well,
What I do remember is we had a conversation with the administration last time around, and they said that they liked Chamura.
Right.
That Chamura is a preferred
Yeah, they like that they're
analyst for this kind of stuff, so.
right.
I just know in industry, that you have a return on investment guideline. It basically says if this investment doesn't pay back, this type of investment, now the capital building is different than something else, but
Now, I think like the university is gonna tell you, oh, we're gonna be serving this number of students, taking in this amount of tuition, and so they're calculating from within.
yeah,
I really don't think that you often get the question of how much is this gonna bring back specifically in tax revenues to the Commonwealth.
yeah.
So, but I mean, Senator Ed comes from a small business background. Of course, he's gonna ask that question.
Right.
And I mean, he was very, very supportive. I don't know how he responded to this, but clearly, since we got permission to submit, he did not become any kind of.
Well, the two quotes in the paper that Bob printed, or that was printed. Alan Campbell was very, very supportive and very, positive.
Right.
Ed was supportive, but not quite as positive
Mhm.
in tone.
Mhm.
And then the thing that just got my attention, because the reason I'm saying that is because when that trailer opens up again, that's gonna be the question, right? We're still hearing from last year's negative coverage that was printed about, well, I thought this thing was dead, all the money going away, they pulled the money from your budget, and I have to explain to them that, no, we never had it to begin with, and no, there wasn't a budget request. And yes, we go every year, but we didn't expect to get it, that kind of thing. So these things linger for a long time,
I hear you.
yeah. So I just want to make sure we're clear, so we can clarify it when the questions come up.
I think the News Virginia are a paywall, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I want to get.
responses to it.
Yeah,
Well, anyway,
I'll see if I can forward the one article.
yeah, if you can
Upload it.
just copy the text.
Did another article, similar article show up in other papers recently?
Well, I know Augusta Free Press was there and she interviewed
It
you,
might have been the Free Press.
but I haven't seen that covered.
Yeah, I'll go. check.
Yeah. So I get a news break kind of thing,
Yeah.
breaking
Oh,
news
okay.
thing. The only thing I subscribe to is the News Virginia.
Okay.
Because honestly, I depend, Bob does his journalism stuff. He calls people, gets quotes. Not so sure that happens all the time with Chris and those guys. Because the coverage last time was really false. And I mean, as recently as the last time we had the trailer open, somebody said, well, I thought this thing, you had your budget pulled, and even the guy from the library said that, I mean, the assistant librarian.
Huh.
And it was like,
Well, that was the good thing about the city council meeting. We
Yeah.
could take back control of the narrative.
yes, definitely.
So we'll check and see if we'll relook at the articles, see what language he used. There is a difference between capital outlay and capital construction pool. It could just be a point of confusion, but
Yeah,
we've not been alerted, and it's too soon, right?
Right. well, that was my thinking too. I didn't.
So of course, the way this is gonna go, if we're successful, the governor does include us within his budget, then the House and the Senate will make their budgets and they have to, of course, approve it as well. And there's gotta be the final reconciliation. And it's only after that that we can actually matriculate to the capital construction.
And many times that budget doesn't get approved until May or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're in line.
And this
Was made-
and this is a long one.
Yeah.
Long
session.
session, long session, long
And
session.
you got a new governor,
Mhm.
so that could be interesting depending on who that is.
And Miss Bamber has visited the museum. Miss Winston Sears has not yet, but.
She hasn't visited in here either. She was up
the-
at Fishburne. She never came down.
Didn't I see a picture of the Secretary of Education? Was that at the museum or somewhere else?
It was at
Richmond.
It was
You were in
in the-
Richmond.
It was Richmond.
You were in
It
Richmond.
was in the
Oh,
executive
that was
Lisa
Melanie
Carter.
and Melanie Clark and Lisa are visiting
In Richmond.
in Richmond.
So I think we're getting the word out there, maybe not as well through the community and through our media outlets, but.
And speaking of which, sorry, you're gonna,
Just the letters.
yeah, I was gonna bring that up
Yeah,
too.
go for it.
So the letter writing campaign was successful. The secretary, the deputy secretary, Senator Head. I can't remember who else has basically come out and be like, God, we're getting a lot of letters, right? You know, so that's good. That is good. I think it's time now that the right people / entities do the same thing in the governor's office at this point. And we should do that soon or closer to the October submission.
Soon as good.
Okay.
Soon as.
Do you have an idea? Do you know who the people, everyone who sent letters? Do you have a list of people who sent letters? I know.
No, I mean, I know people who did, but there were people we told and
You don't know,
we have
right?
no idea if they did or
There's
not.
no formal follow-up.
And it has to be far more than who's told us that they've sent letters. Like I
Yeah,
told us.
Because a lot of times at the trailer or at the lecture series or whatever, we're encouraging people, so.
So,
And I've had various people approach me, be like, I sent my letter in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
so will there be a similar draft? I know you all provided a draft.
That's a good point. It should be.
It'll be very
just about the
similar,
same.
right.
We'll just make sure the verbiage is appropriate for the timeframe.
Right, right.
Add a section thanking secretary there
Mhm.
for her work and getting us the opportunity to ask for the.
In our local legislators. So did you get a follow-up from Chris Head when he, following his meeting?
No.
How was he, when you spoke with him, how was his demeanor? I mean,
Exactly what I expect from a Virginia elected official. They're as long as I've been doing this, the budget is always tight. There is never a time where it's like, we got all this excess cash.
Even though we keep having surpluses.
Right. But no, and that's the way that's what I've been told all along for everything,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, but I mean, he took good time to have it.
Yeah, you took the time to understand it.
Yeah, and he was actually at Smith Mountain Lake when he called, so it wasn't like he was in his office
that's
or anything. So, yeah, so he
So
took.
in your estimate for revenue back, you did not include emissions revenue. right?
No, so this was well, it's included in there indirectly because basically we use Virginia tourism's, let me back up. So we have this median estimate of 65,000 roughly people per year that will come. At BMH Martinsville, we get about 2/3 of our visitors from outside of our zip code. So just extrapolating using that, we use 43,000 people per year from outside the zip code. Virginia Tourism says those people spend on average $298 per day, right? You can argue it. I presented it to the secretary, well, to her team anyway, and I was like, hey, you know, this is from Virginia Tourism, we can use that.
43,000 times 298
Exactly, which comes out to $18.5 million at a
a year.
7.2% return over 20 years on that 256, I'm sorry, $298 per day they're spending is 18.5 million. Right, so that would include, that would include all of their spending. So I got 2 copies if you want. Now remember, we had 4 hours to put that together.
Yeah. I think you entertained the governor for lunch before announcements.
Economic, yeah, the economic development announcement. So personally, I think we have just about turned over all the rocks as far as making sure that we found all the support that is out there. So we'll follow up with draft verbiage and start soliciting people to write letters specifically to the governor's office in support of the project.
Any other questions about detailed design? Status of our detailed design? All right, let's go ahead and move to trailer maintenance.
Are you gonna put new placards up there in terms of the design itself? I noticed, you know, the
They're all gone.
Yeah, but when you put it back in, is it gonna be the new version?
Oh, yeah. No, we're gonna update everything.
Skin likely calls me every day about this.
I see. So we'll, our intention is to revamp the exhibits that go up there. So we, of course, about half of those went in just because we had to grab some stuff and toss things. It was a last second project. We updated a few things, particularly after getting the paint job on the inside and so forth. Now we have a chance to kind of refine the message. Go ahead, make something more specific to this area of the goals. There'll be a few things that'll probably be the same because they're durable, right? And that's just one of the other limitations, right? Since this is non-climate controlled, even if we do get it hooked up to power there at part like semi-permanent fashion, we of course wouldn't be running it while we're not using it.
Right, 24/7.
So that's just one of the considerations in terms of.
Actually, I do have a question that just came to mind. You mentioned that we have a change in the JMU representative, Scott Wachter. I thought he joined us before.
So Rick, we went from Rick to Scott. That's what I was saying. Though. Rick Miller is now replaced with Scott Washburn. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rick Miller. Okay.
Rick Miller was replaced. That was years ago.
You're
right.
Yeah. All right.
No, Scott's still there.
I want to make sure, does he need to be invited to these meetings, or are you meeting with him outside of this, just on the progress about the detailed design?
We can meet him if we wanted to, but I think just outside.
He has been to these
Just in
before,
there.
so I just
Yeah.
didn't know whether he was receiving the invitations or not.
Yeah, so he knows he's welcome if he wants to.
Okay.
Come. It costs us money to have him do stuff, so
Right.
we thought.
Right.
Still,
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want to.
that's an important point.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess anything that he wants to communicate to us can communicate through you. Trailer maintenance update. I heard a little bit outside of the meeting, but go ahead.
Yeah, so just to make it official, the contractor has not yet picked up the trailer. The trailer itself, though, has been emptied out of all valuable items. There are basically just some rough materials in the prepper or workroom at the interior end of the trailer, but otherwise we're waiting on them to come and box it up and ship it off. So after that, if we get a scope of work, we'll have an estimate as to how long. It will take.
Do we know from the city if they're gonna give you a place to farm?
Yeah, I had a preliminary conversation with Parks and Rec, right? So what we're gonna do is when the contractor gets it, and I just don't speak the language of trailer, I've got some homework to ask them about
Okay,
particular needs of the hookup.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know.
but the thought would be they would bring a pole to the site.
There's a pole right there. So the
they would
idea is,
just add it to that.
yeah, so my best understanding, one, we're gonna relocate the trailer onto the asphalt. There's no reason it has to be down this way. So we'll put it up there and then there's the pole right there next to Broad Street and then
Okay,
we can
that's
run,
good.
run a wire down
Yeah.
there. There probably has to be something like some conduit or something added
Yeah.
to have the wire. Mhm.
Cause the last 2 times we tried to plug in, there wasn't any plugs down available.
Oh, geez. Yeah, well, that's why.
Farmers market was consuming them.
Yeah, just start like on buckets, on buckets.
Musician just pop his.
Well, the last time, the musician had like, they were using 3 outlets, and I'm like, we already have 3.
What happened to power
Someone goes up to.
It sounds great.
But the other thing is there's 2 banks there and they had one of them locked.
Hmm.
You know, if they opened the other one, we could have plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem with having to rely on something.
We're at the mercy of the farmers.
Yeah, that's a bad spot to be in life.
Yes, it is. I don't wanna be there.
You know, you got room for improvement with the farmer's market has you.
Yeah,
And is there any restriction on when we spend those funds? Do they need to be spent by some deadline or anything like that?
There's not, no,
Okay.
now that we're in the new fiscal year, we applied, Ainsley, our budget analyst, she just moved it forward for us. I just show progress, it's like, hey, here are the emails, here's where the bid went out.
Right.
Oh, okay, we got it.
Right, so they don't fall back that much.
I did not.
That's good. Anything else on trailer maintenance questions? Community connections, lecture series, I've been seeing in a flurry of emails.
Yeah, thank you, Faye, for you want to tell everyone about
Yeah,
speaker for
I'm
February?
really pleased that Chris Ludwig with Gary Fleming, both are retired scientists from Natural Heritage. And they're amazing.
And they're Jefferson Awards recipients.
Oh, they are. Well, I didn't know that. Well,
there's
good.
more of these.
Well, there, Chris is, you may have heard of him. He's one of the authors of the Flora of Virginia book. That's that's truly stunning publication. And he's mainly a botanist, but you can ask him anything about anything having to do with flora and fauna. He knows his dragonflies too. Anyway, but and he's fun. He'll be an entertaining speaker, and then Gary, I guess, is going to help him with the substance, the material, and photos. But that'll be a good one. It'll be pretty much, I guess, biota of the Ridge and Valley, particularly, this immediate region. And we have a number of sinkhole ponds and calcareous meadows and shell barrens not too far away, north and west. And so they'll be touching on, all those interesting natural communities that we have in this area, which I think people will be really surprised by, honestly. We have one of the most biologically diverse areas next to the Clinch River Valley. This may be number 2 as far as diversity goes. So it'll be fun.
He's like in the
It'll be
February.
February.
Right. And how far will he be traveling from? Will he need
I
accommodations?
think Chris, he worked out of the Richmond Heritage Office, and I'm not real sure where he resides now that he's retired.
Because we have support for that, so. we
Yeah,
need to put him up.
Yeah,
there.
I mentioned that to him in an email, and Jenna said that she would take care of that.
Yeah.
Which is really nice to have that, since they'll be traveling. And all, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be
Especially
a good
in
one.
February.
February, yeah.
I forget what date it is, but I got, some of you probably don't even know him, but Marshall Boyd Museum, he's our technician in, primarily in herpetology, but he helps out in other areas as well. He's going to do a talk that will complement what Ariana gave, I think it was last year, if I remember right. So he's putting something together. He's either September, October, I
think September is.
Okay.
I
think so too.
If my memory's serving me good anyway.
Yeah, I leaned on, I said I would need you
So
to do
there's-
the first one to buy us time to find more speakers.
Yeah.
It's good when you can dictate that. You're gonna be September.
He's an energetic guy.
So,
Oh,
I-
yeah, no,
and this- you know Chris Bolgiana. Have you heard her do any of her forestry talks?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
And-
been quite a while.
Okay, I don't know if she'd be up for it. I mean, so I've
Good
heard
idea.
she's very knowledgeable when it comes to the forest. She's an author of books about forests and cougars and
Yep.
such. If it's okay, I can ask her if she's
Great.
still,
Yeah.
she's retired as the
Right.
archivist
Right.
at JMU, but
And her husband worked for DEQ for a very
Forever,
long time.
Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can inquire. She's local, more or less, so folks run.
You know, Joey mentioned technician, it just gave me a thought. Maybe an interesting topic might be what's behind the scenes of creating an exhibit in a natural history museum.
Yeah, well, that's an idea, because actually what Marshall was going to do
Yeah.
was kind of do a behind the scenes tour of our collections in a way,
Yeah.
right? And it's gonna be very specimen based kind of talk, but how that evolves and actually. Bethany is going to talk, we have a thing with our local retirement community, Kings Grant. That we call Science Cafe. So every other month, so the museum goes over and provides a program, and Bethany is the next one. I forget, it's September, October, it's somewhat soon. Anyway, she's gonna be talking about that exact topic, how, where do you start?
Yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to design
I love that idea.
One thing that comes to mind with regard to biota is, I don't know if you've seen it, but on the Greenway now, they've established this wetland area
That's
over right below spring, and they daylighted the spring, and
Great.
you know, if you could make a connection to that, that would be really cool.
What's the name of the spring?
Rife Loaf Spring, I think it's called. It's the one behind the YMCA. It's right.
Okay, it's called Rife
It's called Loaf Spring.
Loath,
Loaf.
L-O-T-H,
Yeah.
Loath, as in called Loath.
Yeah.
Loath is a-
Yep,
Related
as a
there.
family name, yes.
Well, that's interesting.
It's a really nice, you know, they haven't fully opened it yet. It's still partly under construction, but what you can see
Okay,
from the current Greenway is amazing.
yeah, nice.
And I think it'll grow out really
I'll mention
nicely.
that to Chris. He might
Mhm.
want to come check that out prior to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
let's see if there's anything interesting here.
yeah.
Cool.
And by the way, I'm very impressed by how much water is actually coming out of that spring.
Huh.
I knew that it was kind of bubbling up there,
Mhm.
but when you see it all in the channel running to the river, it's got a substantial amount of flow.
Yeah.
And it's all spring water temperatures, you know, in the
Yeah.
60, low, high 50s.
There's some brookies in there. See what happens.
Yeah, well, it definitely does help retain the fish
Yeah.
through the summer.
That would be a good place to do a release. You know, the school
Mhm.
classroom.
Yep. Yep.
Program.
Perfect.
Yeah. They are still doing that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We had like 200 schools last year in Virginia.
Wow.
Doing top of the class.
Yeah, we're still doing it.
Good.
Yeah. Other ideas for the lecture series, I think we still have some open dates,
Yeah,
right?
let me know.
So if there's anything that anybody has in mind or speakers that I think would be good topics.
I'm sure I'll reconfirm when Marshall is speaking, how look at the other speakers. And we'll take that in.
Another thought, and this just came up, I was on Facebook, Virginia Wildlife put a photograph of a fisher cat up in a tree that was taken somewhere in Virginia. And then I was just reading some of the comments, because I don't got them in our neighborhood, which is amazing to me, because I didn't realize.
You
it
have
was-
fishers in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a fisher anyways. Hear it screaming at night, you definitely know it's a fisher.
Wow.
Are you sure it's not a fox?
No, it's definitely a fisher. Yeah, definitely a fisher.
Huh. Aren't you
In fact, my
lucky?
neighbor saw it.
Yeah,
and
that's
he
very
thought it was
Okay,
a,
great.
he thought it was a panther, and I was like, no, there's no cougars around here. But anyways, but you know, what's interesting is, you know, I was reading the comments, there's a lot of comments, and I was trying to figure out where this photo was taken. And a lot of comments were like, I didn't know they were down here. So it'd be kind of interesting topic about what are the unknown mammals that maybe are inhabitating or reintroducing into Virginia that we're not aware of, or we're not, you know, like fishers, porcupines,
Armadillos.
armadillos, yeah. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting topic.
And that would be Virginia wide.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
mainly the West Virginia
Yeah.
border where we're seeing that. I'll talk to the team because they're also with the museum. We're following the northward movement of faster along the coast, slower inland of invasive species.
Yeah.
Including things that are native but invasive, most or non-native. invasive.
I guess somebody could talk about spotted lantern fly.
I just
That would
killed
be
one
a
on the
current-
way in here.
Well,
Oh my
there's a
gosh.
There.
guy at the,
Somebody could talk about them. I think that would be an interesting topic. We could definitely
would.
bring people.
I think so too.
well, there was a guy that attacked Joe after the council meeting that was a,
That's right.
yeah, the Army, US Army guy.
who's working with farmers on teaching them about spotted
Yeah.
flies. And how to, yeah.
Well, what's the
A couple
recommendation? Well,
entomologists were going geeky in the hallway. Squash them when you can.
Well, I do,
Yeah.
but they're fast boogers.
Yeah,
You know what I learned the other day? Because I squashed one too. They look out the sides and their eyes,
In the
if you
back.
get in front of them, you can
Right.
squash them.
Yes,
didn't know that.
I've learned that too.
Yeah.
Flies are that way too, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Um,
The other thing I learned is that they love ailanthus trees,
Mm.
which is also horrible. And
Right, you gotta get rid
I
of
have
that.
ailanthus
Yeah.
in my neighbor's yard
Yeah.
across, and it is loaded with them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the pupa all the way to the
You
adult.
can't kill ailanthus by cutting it down.
No, you have to
Gotta-
treat it.
Yep, yeah.
Oh,
You have to treat it. You have to bring out the
Girdle
poison.
it, girdle it,
And
paint
poison.
it. Because otherwise it'll just sprout it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's how I got rid of them in my yard. I had one good size, one and a number of smaller ones. I probably took 4 months. Going out there
Yes.
pulling out, what do you call
I
them?
did one of my
It's
yards.
the little suckers that come up all
Well,
over.
there's a
That's what I
sucker
hear.
really connected to a rhizome, is that the
Rhizome.
proper term?
Yeah,
So you
I have that issue.
reach down with 2 fingers and pull those damn things
Yeah.
out like an electric.
You know, that would be a really good topic to talk
It
about,
would.
spotted lanternfly and ailanthus.
Ailanthus
As the host tree,
as the
and
host.
how do you control an invasive pest like that?
Right,
There's gotta be somebody in like VDAX who could talk
yeah,
about that.
I would think there would be.
Yeah.
You know,
Virginia
let
Tech
me-
is
yeah.
doing some kind of study on like.
Are they?
I read
I'm
an
gonna
article.
ask Jason Bullock. He might know. He's no longer with Heritage, but I bet he would know
Okay,
who to contact.
yeah.
But that's a great.
I like having a current topic like that when we had the landslide over on 250 and having somebody come talk about that. I think that brings people in.
It does. Okay, I'll ask them about sources for that. But VDAX, I'm probably right. Because I don't think it has a natural predator at this point, does it?
No, but I've heard it isn't quite as bad as they occupy the area. Predators do figure out that
They are edibles.
Three
Yeah,
three
those
spiders.
get control.
He said 3 spiders, they know, and playing mantis are
Also,
definitely
it's
predators.
It's not native.
They're not
What?
Well, the Chinese manta is not native.
Yeah. I think-
Fortunately, they're one of those things that become established and there is no known negative that we know of. But then the Carolina
We
mantis
lucked out
is,
now.
Carolina mantis, which is about this big, full grown, that's native.
Okay.
And then isn't there one other one? There's another one. I'm not, I don't remember the name of
I
it.
just don't want to see that.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only ones I know, big green ones.
Yeah,
The big green ones, and
Yeah.
they're not native? Oh, shoot.
The ones that eat the mates'
I caught
heads.
them.
Yeah.
Go eat my books.
Well, yeah, they are good. They're a good pest, I guess, you know.
We've got stick bugs in our yard too.
Huh?
Stick bugs.
So
Stick,
walking sticks.
Walking
walk
sticks.
sticks. Those-
Yeah. Anyway, keep brainstorming on ideas. If it's a topic and you don't know a speaker, just get that to us because we can try to,
Yeah.
network with people that we
Right.
know and find a speaker. That might be able to sort of, speak on that.
Yeah.
Community connections. I think we heard about the new museum educator. Did we hear about it in this group or just in the board meeting? Maybe it was on the board meeting, but let's go ahead and share that.
I don't know her. I've never yet. Her name is Rosemary Wagoner. She is retired.
I know.
Okay, I figured you did. And as such, she is available to give programs up here. So I don't think she's going, I'll confirm with Christy. I don't think she's going to Charlottesville to pick up teaching kits there. I think we set her up with a stash of them here. So so that, you know, she's gonna be our resident educator for this area. And Christy was actually just up here. She came for an overnight trip, I believe, and did a couple of 3 programs locally.
It's not good.
So having Rosemary up here will be a real asset. It's good.
And we transferred our education.
Yes.
Has she consumed it already? Has it been consumed? Or?
I honestly, I'm not even sure she's given a program yet.
Okay.
I mean, the new school year just started
Yeah, okay.
and we just recently got
Oh,
her
it starts
on
on
payroll. Well,
Wednesday.
For students.
oh, so, okay, so school hasn't started. yet.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so no, I don't believe that she's done a program. yet.
So I noticed in your notes from the accreditation that they mentioned building more programming for Waynesboro. That was in your email.
There's extracted from our report, from our site visit team and so forth, there is a need to invest in sustaining existing audiences and identify new audiences, especially in the Waynesboro area. And goes further to say efforts to expand the footprint to the Waynesboro area are in collaboration with and are well supported by that community. Since I'm talking about the other bit in there, bear with me here. The staff has done a good job at integrating educational initiatives throughout all exhibits. The expanded exhibit space with content reflecting their mission has addressed a concern in the last accreditation review. In addition, they have worked for several years to build an additional location near the south entrance to the Shenandoah National Park to expand their reach to additional visitors. And the only other thing that's relevant, really part of the impetus of beginning this project, is the museum is still working to diversify its revenues, right? So those are the comments that were specific, or in one case indirect, to Waynesboro. So really they're talking about the community does engage with us actively in the establishment of Waynesboro branch. And basically, as far as I'm concerned, this other comment is just justifying all the 2.5 hour drives up here to do stuff. You know, so foliage fast, river fast, all that stuff, you know.
So last time we talked, I told you we had a donor that would like to fund that temporary exhibit, that maze thing or whatever it was. And you weren't sure if it was ready, or maybe it was Brian, wasn't sure.
I do believe Ryan brought up the idea of some needed maintenance. This is the maze exhibit, Ryan.
The traveling maze exhibit.
Yeah, is that requiring that needs some updates, right?
It does. We've pulled from it. So it needs some technology upgrades and then some of the hardware, but yeah, it's definitely doable. So
Okay.
Right on.
So should I go back to her and just say, hey, we can do this?
Yeah, refresh my
Where are you
memory.
ready?
Where would that?
What's Ann?
Where would that go?
She would put it somewhere. I mean, Greg. You know,
So I've been kind of exploring that. How big is it? How much space do you need?
It's about half of the special exhibit gallery, right, Ryan?
yeah, so just the maze itself is right at 1,000 square feet.
I
1,000.
want to say it's like we needed almost 2,000. 1,500 or something.
So there's a couple places it could go. It requires it. I don't want to get too technical. It becomes an assembly activity, not like a store or a business activity. So it requires some zoning changes, nothing insurmountable. But it wouldn't be like plop it in and go. We'd have
You
to,
just can't do a pop-up thing. The zoning doesn't allow for that.
so I mean, it's
Sounds like
location.
an opportunity for an improvement to the zoning law.
So there's. So I was thinking Willow Oak Shopping Center, because they're.
Yeah, they're
They're-
getting some space.
They're interested, they're easy to work with owners, tons of space of different sizes, plenty of parking, et cetera, so. If it's something that, I think we want to pursue, I can pursue it with them and with the zoning department. It's not, like I said, it's not insurmountable, but
How long would it take to get it ready, Brian?
I would say realistically a couple of months just to make sure it's
90 days.
yeah.
First it's here.
All right, so I just want to go back to her and say, hey, this is doable.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some upgrades that need to happen, and Greg's got to work out some locational things, but maybe by the beginning of next year, if she's still willing to do that. I think that fits her timing right, actually,
Okay, good.
because she's got to donate money, you know.
And so, Greg, I can work with you, or if you want to turn me on to the folks who own the facility or run the facility, I'd be happy to work with them just so that we have the proper security.
And oh, by the way, wouldn't it be really cool if we got this thing to do and we hold a reception for our delegates to, as a grand opening ribbon cutting thing, to kind of demonstrate the community's support in real person, you know.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of an interesting way to kind of press the General Assembly.
Putting all that together, sounds like to me, we're really looking at the beginning of March, because I'm also thinking of weather. To make it happen.
Well, I was thinking about the General Assembly time.
It's too late for the General Assembly.
It
Because
is
one of the
too late.
things that I think Chris had said in that article that Rob referred was, yes, it's important to engage the rest of the General Assembly, not just those two.
Right.
We got to get excitement to them, everybody else.
So, because I'm so literal and linear, give me a window on when we want it to happen.
For the holiday season.
It would even be better for the holiday season.
Well,
If they can
I
deliver.
agree, but I was listening to all of this.
Yeah.
Second week of January.
See, I-
General Assembly's late, starts late
Yeah.
this year, later than.
So I'm thinking about the landowner's perspective, right? Saying, you gotta show them the benefit, right? Other than just, hey, this is a great community thing. But if they can benefit by highlighting their available space and the businesses that are already there, yada, yada. So I like the holiday concept because you build up more traffic there. But whatever, I mean, that's just, none of us here, other than him, have really any tactical, logistical required efforts with this.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but as I said, if we can focus,
Yeah.
that gives them.
Yeah. I think,
Target.
I think like,
That's the word I was
I think if,
searching
to get the most out of the publicity, get the most momentum out of that. We can get it done right at the beginning of the General Assembly, or right around that time frame. To get get the attention and news and all that.
It would take a few days to set up. So what we'll do is we'll target mid-December to have it ready for delivery. And then we can come up for a few days and assemble it. I think we could also maybe sweeten the deal a little bit. I got a couple of things in mind. Because what's the space like that we're talking about over there? Is it like a mall? So it's like maybe 20-foot ceilings or 15-foot
So
ceilings?
it varies on which space it is, because there's 30-foot, well, we probably wouldn't want to be in a 30. So yeah, we'd be in the. I'm not gonna get 15 to 20 square foot. That's what.
Ceiling height, yeah. No, that'll work because when it's in our special exhibit gallery, it isn't lost because every panel is about the height of a door, right? So if it went into a very tall space, there'd be some adjustments we want to make, but I got a couple of thoughts. Want to put something tall with it, and we have, like, for instance, our inflatable dinosaur
Yeah.
that we can put it. I mean, it's not a realistic looking dinosaur, it's an inflatable dinosaur, right? But it's got, and the whole thing is kid oriented, right? Most of the kids, to be blunt with you, they just go tearing through the thing 8 or 9 times before they get tired. I don't know that they're really engaging a lot of the exhibit content, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool and it's exciting because we hit a wrong turn and there's a dinosaur skull there. So.
The nice thing about mid-December too is that's when we're gonna hear from the governor about the budget.
Right.
So if that.
Yeah,
It'd be a
yeah.
very nice push.
It could be a nice thank you event, or it could be, all right, let's get the legislators.
Yeah, let's get these legislators engaged now.
That bastard didn't include it.
Or if it's only a few days or whatever, you can pull the plug at the last minute and say.
How much is the cost again, Ryan? Typically the rental cost again?
The 12,000 for just the maze, and then we would do a larger 2,000 square foot version, and that was 20,000.
Okay. Just looking at the 12.
And Brian, do you have something, a one pager? Is there a picture on your website, something I can show the property owners what we're talking about?
Yeah, I can email that to you, Greg.
Okay, well.
Perfect, we have a time frame.
Yes. Thank you for the linear.
The timing is good too, because we don't have a change out in our special exhibit gallery. The only thing that we have to worry about, and of course it's gonna happen at the same time, but the mammoth that we have on display is it for 3 months, Ryan? We have it for 2 more months, something like that?
We have it through January. There's possibility if we want it longer, we can get it for
Okay, then
longer.
the timing's good because we don't have to address that. We have to take it down and put the other exhibits in its place back. So the time would be good as far as our personnel. All right.
All right, I'll make sure it's still a go for her.
That would be very cool.
It would be. She's very interested in it.
Very.
I mean, even if we can't pull it off by mid-December, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
I think it would still be a fun thing to say,
Of course, we're gonna pull it off 5%.
because we're not having to worry about the logistics.
I know.
Let those guys figure that.
Oh, we give it a try.
Right, we'll come
always
back
find
in a
a
month,
way.
we'll ask for
We can
another.
always fall back, yeah.
You know, I'll be the one to write that note.
Yeah.
Yes, but be careful.
Good.
All right, South River Preserve ribbon cutting.
Yeah, I just looked at the date and I've already probably forgot. It is August 21st.
21st.
Yeah, so 3 Thursdays from now.
Hmm.
So,
What time?
do you remember, Greg?
I don't, there, no, because they haven't picked one. But I've been prompting them to do like 1:30 or 2.
So we'll have an early afternoon ribbon cutting for the South River Preserve. Ryan has been in communication with Dominion. They're gonna have representatives
Oh, cool.
down for that and so forth. We're finishing up the assembly of the signs. We'll be delivering them soon to Parks and Rec. We're gonna plant the interpretive material. Actually, we're doing well in that we have funding left from that grant that this won't have to do with the ribbon cutting, obviously, but we have funding left over, so we're actually gonna develop a few more signs. So we've got some preliminary themes. I'd like to share a few, Tom, give your thoughts on them. We may as well just go ahead and because when I worked with Parks and Rec, it was decided that, you know, with the topics that we have, the fish, the birds, the meadow, and the legacy mercury and so forth, that they were best in the area south of Main Street. So what I'd like to do is maybe make a few more and have them planted over here north of between Main Street and Broad Street, kind of leading up to the museum. So that
I think the bases are already installed. I saw the ones.
Okay, right, good.
So we
Black
don't have an
base is
exact
about
time
like
on it
this.
yet.
No, Greg was saying like 1:30 would be the time to push for it.
Sorry. What was that date again?
The 21st, Thursday.
Can we be notified of
Yeah.
the specific time?
Time.
Are we gonna, Joe, Jack, or anybody, are we gonna do a media alert or a press release or any? Is Parks and Rec gonna do that or?
Have we had that conversation yet?
So Parks and Rec is heading that up. We're
Okay.
trying to nail down a few details, Greg. I don't know if you know, we had reached out to see if Dominion officials could make remarks. We don't want to speak for the city.
Right.
Does that sound like something that could be done?
I would think so. We'll get.
Okay.
We'll prompt them.
Okay, I'll follow up with you on that.
And just so you can be the first to know, we're doing the ribbon cutting for the Southern Corridor Road the Friday after that.
For the what?
Southern Corridor Road, the new road that's gonna go to my
Will
Target.
that be at Corner Springs or where will the cutting?
We're probably gonna do it
By the
in
Target?
front of DuPont Credit Union,
On that building there? That's not the
behind Target.
bank, but it's their call center. So you gotta go all the way down the end of the road.
Okay, behind Target.
And it's where
Chick-fil-A.
Carlos used to be.
30th, you said?
No, the Friday after the 22nd.
Okay.
That'll be at 10:30.
I think you covered the fourth topic, Joe, production of additional signage, so we're down to open discussion.
Jennifer, was there something that we were talking about during development of the agenda for this meeting that I said we can just cover under open discussion, or was that another committee meeting? Since you look quizzical about this, it must be for another committee meeting.
I think it must be. I don't have any notes. I do remember that conversation, but I don't have any notes about that happening in this meeting.
Okay, that must be, it's something Tom related. It's either then facilities or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be the discussion of the floor plan that we've had for Douglas Avenue. I don't know whether that's.
That's not what I was thinking.
Not what you're
but there
thinking?
is,
Okay.
Right?
Hey Joe, did you want to mention the pending grant, the Central Shenandoah Watershed?
Oh, thank you. That's what was on the back of my mind. So if you could cover that, please.
Yeah, so thanks to Lynn, we are connected with the like I said, Central Shenandoah Watershed Wellness Grant. So it's basically tying into the branch campus development of natural watershed development. So so we have $100,000 pending request working with Zach Beard, the program officer, and it's first come, first serve, and we were one of the first ones in. So we're just waiting to hear back. probably this week.
Is it, yeah, I was gonna say, I think
It's not
the award is gonna be
It
made.
is, if you don't, we've already submitted and he gave us suggested edits and sent it back.
Yeah.
And so forth. So yeah, it is competitive and basically, when we were turned on to this by Len, there was no absolute deadline for submission, so it's rolling. So, they'll keep reviewing proposals until they give away
I
all the
think you
money.
gotta spend the money by March 26th.
Yeah.
And
So
and 100,000 is for,
So it's $100,000 in total. There was really no other submissions.
oh, that's all they're giving away.
That's it.
No.
I think it is just 100,000. I thought it was just
So-
100, maybe 150.
so the limit per project is 100,000, but based on what Zach said, there's several submissions. It's pretty much full up now. He's just
Like
got
one
to
was
divvy
like
up the
for
money.
5 grand or something.
So basically what it's going to do is going to augment our landscape design. For things like wetlands, swales and other things that were considered early, but for budgetary reasons taken out, we're now proposing to put them back in. And
It's for the architectural design.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about that was, I learned it, well, I met this fella just coming through the trailer, but it wasn't him, it was the supervisor there or something. We chatted for a while, and then 6 months later, this fella calls and says, hey, you met so-and-so, he mentioned that, you're doing this museum thing, I've got this grant, we'd like you to consider it.
And what's the grant source again?
Well,
Something
the ultimate
large.
funder, I think, is, not NIPWIF, but, maybe it was DEQ.
Chesapeake Bay.
Or Chesapeake, I think it is Chesapeake Bay money. There's a large, a different grantor that was coming through, Central Shenandoah Watershed Alliance or whatever. I want to say it was DEQ actually.
It sounds like something.
Yeah, I think it was DEQ, and they wanted to fund things that would have water quality improvements. But the key thing is you had to have spent the money by March of 26.
It's a real short time.
It is, and that was one of the challenges, I think. But he likes, they really like the museum project, and we talked about the design aspects of it, so you can build into a natural watershed, techniques. I was explaining about the NIPWIF meeting we had some years ago, when they were saying that, when they were early planning on the South River Preserve, the people at NIPWIF were saying, and we met with the president and all the heads of their committees, and one of them was the Chesapeake Bay Committee, and they said that, we were like ground zero for everything they stood for that fed into the Chesapeake Bay and all that kind of stuff. So they were very interested in supporting anything we could do in this region that would, be demonstrable for other communities downstream could employ those techniques. So I was explaining that to Zach, and they loved the idea of, planning, because I knew we didn't have anything for that space that we'd originally had conceived of it.
So when might we be notified?
I think he said next week.
Next week.
It was gonna be like in August, I thought, but I knew we had to spend it by March. I actually think they wanted to, I want to say they were gonna close everything by October. That, for some reason, that sticks in my head, but I could be wrong.
So is that doable?
Yeah, because
Because you have that
we have-
area identified and you already have sort of a plan.
We don't have
for it.
plans, so this is looking at
There's
paper.
no pay for the plans, but how about implementation?
That's the next piece.
That's
We'll have to
another
raise.
piece.
Another grant, that's another grant.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have to put it, they just need to come up with
I
a
got you.
document showing this is
I got
what we'll do to
Okay.
reduce our impact on.
First
watershed.
phase. Gotcha.
And that was some of the challenges, I think, with other groups that might have applied for these grants, is being able to have it all done
Sure.
by the time. frame.
Oh, great. Good luck on
So
that.
hopefully we'll get there. It sounds really positive. Especially if you modify it, give you edits, that's good.
I'll just share that I've been traveling a little bit, and of course, I always look for museums to model ourselves after, and I found a really interesting one in Kansas City. It's actually an art museum. And one of the things that attracted me to it was when we were walking through one of the galleries, on the wall, imagine a big white wall like this. there was a single silver thread that went along the wall, and I looked at it, and it was the Missouri-Mississippi River.
Mhm.
Maya Lin, who you might recognize, who designed the Vietnam War Memorial,
Right.
has a book called A River is a Line. And I thought it was so cool just to have that stark white background with a silver line tracing, you know, the line of the Missouri, Mississippi. And I thought, wow, we could do that in our museum.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I actually bought her book if you're interested. She's done not just the Missouri and Mississippi, but she actually started with the Hudson River, I think. And she's done a number of other rivers. Now, I don't know if we can get Maya Lin to do the work for us, but maybe she would, you know, let us
We could tantalize. her
take
with
the
an
idea or
opportunity.
something like that and use it. But I just thought it was really cool. And I do have some pictures and I have some video, which I can share after we close our meeting, at least for those that are in the room here. The other thing that I saw at that museum that I thought was quite cool, and we talked about having an exhibit that extended through a glass wall, like a rock formation that came through the lobby and out through the window and into the courtyard, and maybe there was a water feature associated with it. They had a stone wall that did that. So it started inside the building and it came right up to a window. And then as you're looking out, it was continuous out into the courtyard. And there was artwork along the stone wall and stuff too. So I thought that was really cool. And there was a water feature inside also that was reflected with a patio on the outside. So there were a couple of examples there that I really liked, and I had pictures and video of that as well.
Is this a Kansas City?
It was it was an art museum, Atkins Art Museum in Kansas City. I can't remember the full name. It's a double.
Surely they have a website.
Yeah,
I'll take a look
they
at
do,
that.
and I'll find it if you're interested. But the Maya Lin thing was really what struck me.
The only thing she can do is say, no, sorry.
Right. Yeah.
No miss, it's a dead
And, you know, I guess I was already thinking about it because with the South River Watershed Coalition, and this could be a speaker that we bring to the talks if he gets his video together in time. We've been working on a video that starts at the very headwaters of the South River and follows a rubber duck down the river all the way to the Chesapeake Bay, just to show that the water that starts here in Augusta County ends up in the Chesapeake Bay. And that was kind of inspired by a conversation I had with teachers at Riverfest who were coming from Hampton Roads to release their trout as part of the trout classroom program, didn't even realize that the South River water goes right by their front door.
Oh.
So they said, we have to put this into our classroom. I said, let us help you. Let's make a video that documents that journey. And the videographer that we have is really good. And he's shot a bunch of sequences of the ducky going through a culvert on the Cole Road, and down through an agricultural pasture, you know, and through Waynesboro, and actually during Riverfest when all the ducks get dumped off the bridge,
Yeah.
our big duckies floating down through there too. And then ending up in the Potomac and going by, you know, the Capitals, all the buildings that are recognizable down there. So, and of course, there's a backstory to it. A kid brings it up and loses the ducky. And it was actually inspired by a movie that was done in the 50s that I remember watching as a child called Paddle to the Sea, which you would appreciate was done in Canada with an indigenous boy who carves a canoe and a little figurine on it, and he puts it on the snow.
The St. Lawrence.
And the snow melts and it ends up in the river, and then it goes through Lake Superior and it comes all the way out. So
That's cool.
yeah, and some lighthouse guy finds it wash up on the shore and wonders, where did this come from?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's fun. So that's kind of.
You know, that video with the duck almost sounds like a PBS program. Does anybody have any connections? You know, connecting to what matters. That's
Right.
their tagline.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
we're
they
funding
have
it.
funding.
We're funding it. We're funding it.
Done, all they gotta do is.
Yeah, yeah.
do it.
No, we're funding it through the South River Watershed Coalition, and the idea is that perhaps other watershed alliances will pick up the idea and you know, build on it going downstream. You know, obviously we want to focus on the South River getting to Shenandoah and tell the whole story, but travel all the way through. But yeah, we hope that it might get picked up by something like PBS. The guy who's our videographer wants to enter into a contest for these kinds of documentary films. So it might get some play that way. And if we could bring him to the theater, he could, it's not exactly science, but it's certainly science-like. And he could talk about the production of it and,
Oh, sure.
you know, we could have somebody just talk about watersheds and.
How long's the video?
Right now, it's about 18 minutes long.
So you could play the video. and-
Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
would be my thought, is that we would maybe premiere the video, depending upon the
Right.
timings, premiere the video there. And have him present to talk and answer questions
Yeah.
about production, and maybe some of us also who've been involved in the production talk about it.
You know, we were in Portugal back in March, and we were in Lagos, which is on the western side of the Algarve, right? So you know where the Algarve goes all along the Atlantic Ocean on the southern shore, from where what actually was the end of the earth. That's back in the day when they thought when you went over that horizon you were done. And then the other side of it's the Spanish border, so about a couple hundred miles. But there is a greenway that goes all the way from whatever, I forget the name of that area, Lagos, but west of Lagos, all the way to the Spanish border. That's connected by each community invested in this thing. It's actually a wooden greenway that, and some of it's on dirt stuff along the cliffs and everything, but it's all interconnected. And it was a joint partnership with all the communities all the way along that stretch of the Algarve. And it's amazing. You know, some of it goes through wildlife areas and that kind of stuff. But I was just thinking, you know, your idea of having watershed alliances or whatever, you know, kind of connect into it, build it out some.
Yeah.
You know, it's realistically it's possible. That would be really cool. And then you can make an interactive exhibit in the museum. You know, maybe where you could actually, you know, somebody could come in, a child or whatever, and say, well, I live in this area, put in their zip code or something, and that video can zoom in.
Oh, by the way, and we probably should adjourn the meeting, because I think we're kind of drifting off topic, and we want to let the folks that need to go, and those that are online, go. So we will adjourn and meet again next month.
See you.
And I'll have a
Next
report from the board too, because I'll have a board meeting in between.
September.
So
There, it says
Thank
on-
you all.